I just accepted you. There we go.
Yo.
How are you?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How's your day?
Going good so far. Going good.
That's good. I just sent it to TMR, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm actually up here at the studio right now myself, so as you can see.
Nice. Hi, Matt.
Let's see who we got.
I'm super shadow banned, but let's see how this works out.
It's all good. What's up, everybody? Boom, boom. Let's do this. Get some rolls up in here. Get some comments rolling.
Jordan, is that the one that was on your live earlier?
Yes.
I was watching it earlier.
Yeah, so we did some artist stuff today, trying to get some gems to some of our clients up here and people we work with.
Nice. That's nice of you, especially as an independent artist, sharing that with everyone else. Oh, it just kicked him out. What the heck? Jessie, if we could get you back in. I don't know what happened. Said he was unable to join. Let's see what happens. I might have to start this over. Let's see. I don't know what happened to Jessie, but we'll give it a minute.
Yo, what's up?
What up?
Hey, had to make sure I got my candies before I got on
Of course.
live here. Of course.
Is either candy or water.
Oh, I got both. I got both today.
I'm here.
It's Friday. Jesse, what's up, bro?
What's going on?
Hey,
Jesse's frozen on my screen, but
he is? I see him. I see Jesse.
nice.
Yeah, it kicked me out. I had to log back in.
What, is he still frozen?
Yeah,
Let me see.
that's weird.
Yeah, I've got full
Jesse's
signal
frozen.
everywhere.
Jesse's frozen because he's the coldest rapper in his parts.
To say I've got full signal, man. Definitely should be getting a good signal.
I don't know. Maybe he'll come unfrozen. Maybe it's on my side. I don't know. It said Jesse unable to join, and then he left and came back. So
He was frozen, so we let it go.
TMR got the jokes and candy today. That's how this day is going.
Yeah. Everybody said I could see him moving, so I think it was just on her screen.
I mean, they see him moving.
It's okay. We'll leave it rolling. Whatever. I'll just see you frozen. Maybe you'll pop back up later. But what up to everyone joining? We pretty much are just gonna jump on and talk about their newest video, self-doubt, as well as mental health, especially with Mental Health Awareness Month. So everyone who's just tuning in, who is now just turning to both of your guys' music or finding one or the other, if we can start off with Jessie, if you can just give us a little bit of your childhood growing up and what led you to the journey you're on and you being the artist you are today.
Yeah. So I'm Jesse Garrett. That's my name. I was actually born and raised in South Carolina. My mother and my mom's whole side of the family is born and raised in California. My dad was born in Georgia and raised in like really southern South Carolina in like Hicktown. And then had a lot of musicians and artists in my family. My grandparents play guitar. My grandpa has as many guitars as I do. All right, I should say. So it definitely came from my mom's side of the family. So I started out playing guitar in like middle school. And then towards like high school, I got around a lot of people that were like, we'd be at like parties and stuff, like freestyling, playing, and people would be like, Jay, like you should really try to rap, bro. And I'd be like, all right, and the next thing you know, we're just like hanging out, making stuff. And then years later, I'm like thinking I'm doing something big, recording on this little crappy Skype microphone in my bedroom. And then just snowball effect, I ended up moving to Atlanta in 2012, I think it was. And then while I was there, I did go to engineering school just to kind of perfect my craft a little more. And then just been back and forth ever since. And now I am back officially in South Carolina. And Jordan, who you saw earlier, that is one of my business partners up here. He actually owns Speak Life, and I moved back from Atlanta to come work with him.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the snowball effect, I guess you'd say.
I love it.
And that's why it's so cold.
Yeah,
that's why it's frozen.
Yeah, with you today. TMR. If you
Well,
get the same thing.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, everybody? My name's TMR, aka the Marine Rapper. I basically grew up in Newark, New Jersey, basically just across the bridge from New York. I grew up as a military brat, moving around and stuff like that. So I just want to tell a different story, because I told my story a whole bunch of times. So like my mom and my dad are both artists in their own right. My mom is actually, you know, she did a little drawing and she did some poetry. And then my dad also does like poetry and love songs and stuff like that. So I kind of like, but as a kid, I always did animation and drawing and stuff like that. So I was always into the arts and stuff like that. And then listening to rock music. So similar to Jessie, like I started like in a different way, a different genre. I listened to a whole bunch of rock music and stuff like that, skateboarding. And then I started freestyling, and they're like, "Oh man, wow, you're cool." You know what I mean? Keep going or whatever. And then I got a tape of Notorious B.I.G. and that like blew my mind. It was just like saying that like you can become whatever you want to become and break all types of stereotypes, because Notorious B.I.G. at his time, he wasn't the stereotypical rapper. He was, you know, he self-proclaimed, he's all, I'm fat, I'm black, and I'm ugly, but I'll still steal your girl, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like with that type of confidence, I was just like, yo, like if you have somebody like that who's different than all these other rappers, you know, this black kid that skateboarded, listened to rock music could, you know, be a lyricist and stuff like that. So that's how I got into rap music today.
It's funny you say that, man, about the skating and stuff, man. Like that was me too, bro. I used to have long hair in high school and stuff. And yeah, dude, my first album, I actually like that made me fall in love with rap. I'm pretty sure it was Word of Mouth by Ludacris. Like,
oh, Ludacris.
He set it off for me, bro. Like it was just something about Luda, and like I was always, Mom, I gotta get the CD. She's like, well, it's gotta be explicit, and I was like, well, it takes the fun out of it, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're hearing the bleeps and you're like, man, I can't hear the words. Yeah,
yeah, just a bunch of skips.
He like reminds, yeah, Ludacris, Lil Wayne, and like the Baby are all in like the kind of like same vein. I think like this generation's like Ludacris is probably like the Baby.
Yeah.
Definitely. For both of you, at what age did you really start to fall in love with music? Because like most artists, they're either have someone in their family or grow up around it, but they don't really have that drive. So from the beginning, what really set you off to be like, no, this is what I want as my career? Especially as independent artists, and you guys both took the harder road and investing in yourselves and going the opposite of what society and Hollywood and all of that glitz and glam look like.
Yeah. Who you want to go first?
Go for it.
Shoot. I mean, I definitely, you know, I always had a passion. It's funny you were talking about drawing, because that was my first passion, like way before music. I originally wanted to go, like when I was in like early middle school and stuff, I wanted to be a graphic designer. I wanted to be a tattoo artist when I was in like 7th grade, and then just kind of dwindled out of that. But once I started playing guitar and stuff, that's when I really, I guess, started picking up. And then I started hanging out with some producers. I used to know a guy that used to sample records and stuff, and like literally like go get vinyls and sit and like sample into Ableton, and we go over there and start rapping and stuff and recording. And then it just kind of went from there. And I'd say I wanted to be serious at 18 and stuff. Like, I really liked to rap, but I had no idea about the business and stuff then. Like, that was the era of, like, handing CDs out. There wasn't Spotify, and, like, Instagram was new and stuff like that. So I definitely came up in the walk around and hand out CDs era. So, like, it just kind of went from there. But in my early 20s, I think that's when I officially was like, all right, I'm doing this, because I remember the last job that I had, like, was FedEx. I used to work at a FedEx, and I finally came home one night, and actually I had a manager at the time, and he came home with me to my mom's, and like I was trying to get my mom to say, you know, like you can do this full time, and she wouldn't do it. And then finally I had a guy that was working with me. He was like, I'm telling you, like, this is what he needs to be doing, and like kind of gave my mom the extra push. And then I quit FedEx and then just went full-fledged music, and then I've nonstop ever since.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because I love it. I love it. Like, it's crazy because it's really hard to find somebody like on the same level as you. And let me explain. And Jessie probably knows what I'm talking about. No, I'm not necessarily talking about like skill level or nothing like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the respect and also like to put in the work. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, you got that. All right, I got that. That's how it was. It's like Jessie's like, oh, I made the flyer. I said, okay, I'm gonna help promote where I can or whatever, or go live or whatever, and tell people about it and stuff like that. It's really hard these days to find somebody who like cares about it that much, about the music, about the project. And even if we just had 2-3 listeners, whatever, I know that, you know, the record that we created was an important thing. Shout out to Jessie Shirts for like producing it too. Yeah, because it brought the song to, Jessie brought the song to life. We've been working on this for a minute, but because, you know, holidays and stuff, but Jessie brought the song to life by you know, with the timing, the theming and everything. We talked and we collaborated. It was a true collaborative effort. Like, you know, we collaborated on, you know, on everything from the song to the video to the mood of it. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like, you know, if he had it one time, I would have it next time or whatever like that. So we actually shot the video remotely too. That's a total different thing. So
Yeah.
Some people might not even know that. So we shot it remotely. He was like, this is what the video looks like. I said, bet. And I said, and we didn't talk about no details. I just said, I'll make it happen. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what he had to go through. You know, people don't understand. There's like, we have to pay people, do this, do that. And there ain't no excuses. It's just like, here, it's done. You know what I mean? So like, that's what I'm saying about being on the same level. It's very rare to have somebody like Jessie, and I just really appreciate it. I definitely want to do some work with him in the future and stuff like that. But like, it's very rare to have an individual like that, you know, that is going to come through, that's going to share, promote it, really take it seriously, and you know, fill in any spaces that, you know, may be left over, or take the initiative. That's really the thing. And that's why I like how Jessie was like, oh yeah, I didn't know about the business side, because it's not just music. I mean, I know a lot of lazy, talented people. Like, I know a lot of lazy. They're like, oh yeah, I'm better than you. Oh, how so? I was just like, how so? Nobody knows about you and you're on your couch. You know what I mean? Like, it happens with me in the, you know, with military. There's like, oh, I know there's another Marine who's better than you. I'm like, no, they're not, because they don't exist. They're a tree falling in the woods. I don't care how good you can rap, but if you can't push your product, have respect for the craft, really have respect for the business and respect for other people, you're better. Doesn't mean anything. And also it's relative. People have different tastes and things like that. So it's like whatever. So like, that's why I have so much respect for Jessie. I haven't really like publicly said it, but I'm pretty sure it's like understood. But because that's the type of individual he is. And so I bring that up because I wanted to segue in the fact of, I didn't really, it's not that I fell in love with music. It was just like have like a respect for it and a respect for the craft. So like there was 2 times, right? Well, there's 3 times. There's one, Casey and JoJo, because I listened to the song like when I was a little kid or whatever. What's that song? All My Life. All My Life or whatever. And I heard it and I was like, it's weird. How are you gonna love somebody like your mother and your sister and your brother? I didn't understand. I wasn't mature enough to understand what he was talking about. But then as I got older, I started respecting. He's like, oh, like regardless, you know, because you're my family, I'm gonna do whatever for you. I love you like that. And then I was just like, wow. And then I started to have more respect for the lyricism. And then the second time was when I was overseas in Iraq. Like I was like going day to day. I was like, if anybody says they were over in Iraq getting shot at, weren't scared, they lying. I was scared. Like, I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow. And I'll go on a patrol with somebody and then just be talking to him. He's like, yo, because that's the number one thing that you say when you're on patrol. When I get back, I'm going to do this. When I get back, I'm going to do this. Oh, you know, Susie, I'm going to finally ask Susie out. Oh, you know that business, I'm going to finally do that. hey, yo, I'm gonna take raps really seriously when I come back. I swear to God, like I swear it's gonna be crazy, right? And then the dude who said he's gonna have a DJ company with another dude, he ended up getting killed by a sniper, right? And I was just talking to that dude because we had rotation, so I went back to the office or whatever, and I was like, because I was a reporter too, so I was putting in my reports or whatever. And then I was with this. I was like, "What's this? These are all the files." And I said, "The files of the what? Of the KIA means killed in action." And I'm looking through the files, and it was one of the dudes I was talking about. He just got killed, and I was just like, "Wow." So I was like, "Bro, like nobody is exempt. It don't care. You could be a super soldier. If you're not paying attention, they will kill you. Like period. It doesn't matter who you are. Like anybody could get hit at any time." So we have a saying called complacency kills, and keep your head on a swivel and stuff like that. So I was always like super like I was like a bobblehead dog, back and forth, back and forth. I was like, I'm coming home. If it's me or you, it's you. Like that in my brain, I was just like, that's all. Like I did not even like I couldn't settle for anything less. I was like, no, I'm here for a reason. I gotta come back and I gotta tell the story. I gotta do music. I swear I'm gonna go hard on hip hop when I go back. So the thing that would get me through the days was the second time where I respected music was Crazy by Gnarls Barkley. Like that's if you're a music head, like it's like what some like I'm like a music geek. So like sometimes I'm like, yo, did you hear that? And they're like, what, man? He just said. I was like, no, you don't get it. They did this. And then like even the music video is Rorschach. If you know what that is, like when you look at the ink blots, you can see certain things where you could not see certain things. And like just the integration of the concepts and the lyricism all together that Gnarls Barkley brought together is an amazing thing. And I'm just like, yo, you guys don't see this? And I'm just like, I can't even, that's why I don't even bother to talk to certain people or whatever. And people who get it, they get it. And like, it's kind of like, Jesse gets it. He knows what I'm talking about or whatever like that. So, Crazy was the second time. And then the third time was like, when I started doing it, I'm like, man, this is hard. I know I went through a whole story and everything, but
no, you're good.
I just wanted to give some flowers to Jesse, man, because Jesse worked so hard and he's so talented. It's like, yo, like, bro, like, what? Like, I'm just like what? Because like I was going through my IG feed. I don't know how I came across you. I was going through my IG feed and I was like, yo, I like this dude, man. I want to collab with him. and because like I've been so like tunnel vision with my crew and like military guys, military. And I was like, yo, who is this? I don't know. You came up in a reel. Like, you just came up in a random reel.
I think it was the Third Eye video, the governmental conspiracy.
Yeah, you're walking down the street or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that was probably conscious. That was conscious. Yeah,
it was just him rapping crazy. And I was just like, what? It's like, man.
I love
like, it makes me so mad.
What people
like,
don't know is, man, like, a lot of people don't know, originally, we were going to, in the beginning, it was going to be another song. And then Self-Doubt was like the second. So like when he had reached out to me, I was actually, I think I was like at the studio or something, and Shirts was like, yo, he was with me, and he was like, yo, here, just like sent me a couple beats. So because I'm all about attack speed. Like when I got an idea, I got to get in there. So I was like, I'm gonna just go to the studio. I'm gonna go up there, and I was just trying to lay something down to send over to get to him. And then we ended up making the switch like last minute, and it, like when we made the switch, you could just like feel like, all right, this is supposed to be the song. Like for sure, this is the song. It's not forced. It feels good. Like, and it just worked out perfectly. So I was like super, super pleased, because when he sent me that beat originally, I was like, this has to be some like deep thought, some like track, 100%. So yeah, he definitely killed it for sure.
When Jesse sent to me after he did his verse, I was like, yo, what else am I supposed to say? Like, I'm just like,
I love the fact that both of you collab though, because both of your work ethic, and then you guys, not only, even when you're off screen, like you guys are always putting in the work, and you aren't afraid to help other people and lift other people up. Like just before this, Jesse was on a live helping other independent artists or aspiring artists who want to do music, and give them tips. Like you don't get that a lot in the industry. So both of you take the time out and you show love to everyone, and I respect both of your drive. And then once I heard the collab, and I was like, oh, I'm excited for this song. But the minute I saw the visual from, I think Jessie sent it to me first and was like, hey, because we knew we were going to do this live. So I was like, dang, because especially with the child, tying it to the childhood throwback videos, like that just ties in the visual and the mental health side of it and the whole story. And what most people don't realize, and what I've noticed, especially too with TMR, and I'm sure Jessie, you get this a lot, is people are like, oh, I wish you would do music on this, this, and this. And it's like, I already did. Here's this song. And the other thing with that is most people don't realize, unless they're following your story and like the deeper meaning of your song. Like you guys have so many, the wordplay you guys do is stupid. Like it's so much deeper, and your mindset really has to be at a certain level to comprehend all of it, because there's a lot in there, but so many people can relate to it. So I love the fact of the storyline that both of you play in all of your music, because it's real life and people can relate. Yeah. So going into Self-Doubt in your newest video, if you want to let's do some lyric breakdown. I'm going to go to your guys' Instagram, because I know that you guys went to asking people what the favorite verse.
And speaking of the footage, like the thing is, like how we were talking about, like how I got started, like my grandpa and my grandma, they 100% are like my artistic bone, creative bone. Like my grandpa used to draw cartoons and stuff like he used to work in the film industry in California, like way before my existence. So like he was always on film and stuff, like, or working with film. So he always carried a camera around, and I caught that trait. Yeah, I'm always filming. You can make content out of anything. You just have to learn to be vulnerable and just be human and just make stuff. And my grandpa always used to film like one of those click, 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 like the old timey reels. So one day, a few months back, my grandma sent me, or I was at her house and she was showing me all this footage, and she literally has, it's like 2.5 hours worth of old footage that was shot in the 70s in California, like New Mexico, in the middle of the desert. And there's scenes in there. And when I saw that scene of him talking to me on camera, it was just like weird, because I love to film and he was filming me, and like generations later, I'm making something that he was doing the same thing years ago. So it meant a lot to me being able to put the footage in there with my grandparents and stuff. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Especially because it ties in like your whole story, and like everyone is always battling something, and no matter what you're going through, everyone's been in a position where they've been down, had those dark moments, and had to turn to somebody, or otherwise everyone's always battling, whether it's an addiction of drugs, sex, alcohol, porn, whatever it may be, social media, whatever it may be. So even just tying that visual to, like, if you were to come out now and as you're talking about it, most people can't comprehend, like, even childhood trauma, like the fact that as a kid this happened to you, but when you tie in that kid visual, it puts the 2 and 2 together, and people are like, oh, and it hits home differently, because you as a child to now where you are today. And it's like, no, I can heal, I can recover from this. And so going into your guys' lyrics, let's do some lyric breakdowns. I'm going to go to your guys' Instagram, and one of the verses that people like and commented a lot was, you ever wonder why you even try? If we can just go into that lyric, and then like even your guys' favorite verses, if we could do some lyric breakdown.
Yeah. I feel like the meaning behind that for me, it's just like, I tell people all the time, like, you are your worst enemy, 100%. Like, I don't see any other artist. Like, I used to be like, oh, I'm better than him. You know, when you first come up, you start rapping, you're like, oh, I got to be better than him. And it's like, there isn't a competition between artists. It's more so, in my eyes, you have a competition with yourself, because if you aren't strong enough to push yourself, then you aren't going to be successful as an artist. Like, if you are scared to get on camera and be vulnerable and, like, you know, and do stuff like that, I feel like you are your worst enemy. Like, you can literally stop yourself from doing something, or you can just, like, all right, adapt to the change, make the change, and move forward, and let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that had a lot to do with, you know, like, you ever wonder why you would try? Like, everybody does. Everybody battles themselves in their head and stuff, and it's like, you just kind of got to get over it.
Facts. let's go into TMR. Let's go to some of yours. Hold on, let me pull Instagram back up. The temple to temple, praying to God, can you keep my life simple? I'll let you finish it from there because.
Well, okay. Temple to temple is a double entendre. Like saying because I've been, you know, I was raised Southern Baptist. My dad's from Georgia too. It's crazy. Me and Jessie have like a lot of similarities. But just, you know, throughout my life, I've always been, you know, religious and going to church and stuff like that. But saying, hey, you know, I've had ups and downs. I went to temple. I went to church. God, you know, which one's the right way? You know, which door should I open? So like in a religious way, but also temple to temple, like stuck in my mind, like temple to temple. Yeah. Can you keep my life simple? And so it's really an oxymoron because it's a complex double entendre, but yeah, that's what that one means. It seemed like people like that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it wasn't even planned either, so people know it was not planned for us. I started the line with that, and he finished his line with that. When he sent it back, I was like, "Oh yes!" Like I was like, "Bro, I couldn't ask for more." I was like, "You literally tied the whole song back together right there just by saying the first line that I said." I was like, "This is it. This is hot."
Because if you guys notice, I started on his last line and I finished on his first line. So it like it goes in the like it's kind of crazy. It's like unspoken things that me and Jessie didn't talk about, but it's like, oh, it was just like a respect on the professionalism and also like the artistry. It wasn't like he just threw some raps together or we wasn't like trying to like super rap out, you know what I mean, over rap or whatever. Be like, oh, I'm better than you, because I like to make great records or whatever. That doesn't mean don't be dope, but it's just like people worry too much about being better than somebody else than being better than yourself. That's what I do. As I go, how can I make how could I do the best me to my standard? Am I holding up, you know, my agreement to myself? Like for me, what I do is I think back to those times when I was in that tent and I was literally praying, please God, bring me back. I'm going to kill it. And I was like, yo, because if it wasn't for those other guys that got hit, I could have been hit. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, are you serious? You're going to squander this opportunity when God put you back here in the United States of America to have all these freedoms and tell all these other people's stories to just do that, you know? So that's why in the video, I didn't want to do the same exact thing as Jessie, how he did the kid stuff, because I was just like, my verse wasn't about that, but my verse was actually about the troops. But I didn't want to be so obvious with it. So that's why I said too many family receptions. None of you wanted no static. So the whole time I'm talking about TV stuff. I don't know if you caught on to that, but I said, when I said too many family receptions, I mean like wakes. So I mean like wakes. I said too many family receptions. And I'm so fed up with it. You don't want any static because I'll do what I have to do to protect mine. That's basically what I'm saying. But my little like flashback was, not everybody's familiar with it, but it's a folded flag. It's the flag that they give to fallen troops' families. So that's what it was. I didn't want to make it too obvious, but that when it zoomed out and it zoomed out from that triangle flag and went to me, that's what it was talking about. And so that's why. So at first, I'm going through my emotions of being like too many family receptions, and I'm like, none of you wanted. Then none of you wanted no static. So I went from sadness to like aggression or whatever like that. So that's what that meant. But those lines were set up. I don't know if you guys know that I went through the vocal. I said I went soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Yeah.
And basically, I'm setting up all that inside the church. And I said, you run from the pews. So basically, it was setting up a whole choir, then saying you're running from the pews, which is the seats, but you're like the pew. You know what I mean? But I said you lower antennas, like, you know what I mean? So and like as I'm describing it, I'm descending the vocal ranges.
Yeah.
But it's just another level. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's why I was just like, yo, like I had to go crazy because Jessie went so crazy. I'm just like, man, there's just so much passion. Like, I was like, how am I gonna match this, bro? Like, there's just so much passion. But
Dude,
we
for years,
put
man,
a lot in there.
That was a big one for me. Like over the years, I feel like you connect a whole lot better with your fan base when you're just like straight up, man. Like I've never been for one. Like I feel uncomfortable if I say something in a song that I know that's full of shit. Like I literally, it's like it just makes me feel weird. I'm like, dude, I'm not pulling up in a $200,000 Mercedes-Benz truck, so I can't say I am. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like just being real and vulnerable with your fans. And I saw a comment on our YouTube, like somebody comment on YouTube, and they said, you know, it takes a lot for a person to be able to talk about these personal type of things open with the world. And I've never really understood, like wrapped my mind around it, but like seeing that comment made me go like, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, so some people are scared to talk about stuff like that, but when you do, you show that you're human and that somebody listening can relate to exactly what you're saying in the song. They're like, dude, I literally went through that this morning, or I go through that with my mom, or whatever the case may be. So I feel like a lot of times when you just touch home, like within, and you just put it out, people are going to relate to it and they're going to feel it more, and it's going to just feel more natural.
I agree, bro, because a lot of times, like if somebody was to say, yo, I like your last 16, I like your last rap, and I'm like, word, thank you, but then I knew in my heart it was fake, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I won't. So like, and plus,
that's the one you like.
So I can't. So me, I hold myself accountable. I do it to where me, it's a little bit more extra accountable because there's people still serving. So I can't say I'm Rambo and they'll be like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I said something, like they're like, yeah, that's true. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was here and I did this, da 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 da. Like. It better be facts, because if it wasn't facts, I wouldn't be here because I'd have a whole bunch of Marines up on me. You know what I mean? So like, I agree with you, bro. Like you can't, and I think it's hip hop too, man, because I just love hip hop so much and I study hip hop so much. Like hip hop is supposed to be about authenticity and not so much these days. They don't frown upon it too much now about the ghostwriting thing, but I don't do it. I don't even, but
yeah, I've never ever had somebody write for me.
but what the fact that I'm saying is just like, it's supposed to be a personal thing from your heart and where you come from. So, you know, when it started in BX and stuff like that, they're like, yo, hey, Jessie, tell me about your hood. Yo, hey, Ray, tell me about where you come from. I didn't want to hear the same recycled thing saying you're such a gangster when people know that's not true. Man, you still living at home with your mom. I just saw you at the bodega trying to ask somebody for some money. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
bro, you'd be surprised, man. You'd be so surprised. We have clients, like, I'm not gonna put any names. I've had clients in the past, I'm gonna say, be like talking about pulling up in some $200,000 car, and they're like literally Uber or mom dropped them off. I'm like, dog, like, it's like, dude, like, I get it, you know what I'm saying? Trying to be trendy and stuff, but like, I feel like there's no longevity in that kind of stuff. It's like when you're real about your craft and you really put it out there to the world, you know, good's gonna come back to you, man, if you're helping other people.
I think especially as men, like what you guys are doing, and both of you are fathers, I think what you both are doing, even putting yourself out there on social media, a lot of people, like it might throw those who are real and living that social media life where they're real on and off camera. You look at people like, what do you mean? Like, that's just who I am. But social media has such a facade, and so many people are doing so much stuff for clout. And I think too, as you guys being men, it's even more powerful because most men won't be vulnerable on screen or in their music. They're always talking about sex, drugs, and that's what sells. But it's not like, for you guys, it's like, that's not who I am. I'm not gonna force myself to talk about that to hit number one. And so I think it's important to show that you guys, as independent artists, took a different route, and you can set your own craft and make your own lane and still be successful, especially as men, and getting away from that whole Hollywood and what sells. So that's important too. And even going off of social media and what you guys just referenced is even going to, like, some of your videos might trigger people. because they might not be ready to face their own demons and whatever is going on in their mental health in their life. So sometimes you guys might get that projection a lot, and energetically you take on a lot. But how do you guys deal with the projection, or when even rejection, when you are going against what's so mainstream?
Yeah. That's a good question. That's a good question. Honestly, man, I feel like if I put it this way one time, and I kind of always stood by this, if I was to let rejection stop me, I would have, or phase me. If I was to let rejection and hate phase me, I would have gave up years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago, because if you're in this industry, it don't matter what color, race, whatever. If you're doing rap, if you are making music, you better know that you are going to be dealing with some haters. Like, it's like, I feel like over the years, you just kind of get used to it. And if you're not one to be criticized as an artist and stuff and deal with rejection and stuff like that, and you're scared to put yourself out there and stuff, you are in the wrong industry 100% in every way, shape, or form. And if you can't figure out how to bend that barrier, then maybe you need to go like gorillas and like have a cartoon image and nobody know who you are. But like, you have to, I feel like you definitely have to be strong enough mindset wise to deal with that, because if you let hate comments and rejection and stuff get to you, like, you're gonna be dealing with it. It's gonna happen. Like, I expect it at this point. I'm like, all right, no haters today. Like, there's nobody talking shit in the comments. Like, it's like, whatever, dude. Like, I appreciate it, man, because 9 times out of 10, when you got a hater, all they're doing is spreading your name for you. It's like you literally just made somebody else go, who is that? Let me look him up real fast. So it's like, let them. Let them.
Free publicity. Keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Timar?
For me, it's like, it's kind of like what Jessie did a little bit. Like, if I don't get it, I'll feel some type of way. Like, I'll feel some type of way. Because me, I don't like indifference. I would like somebody to love it or hate it, right? Mm-hmm. Or if somebody just dislikes it or whatever, I'll ask them for the constructive criticism or whatever. But if they don't, you know what I mean? Because I've also had people who've hated something that I've done, and then they've came back to me years later and said, you know what? I've grown so much respect for you, because no matter what came at you, you still stuck to what you believe in. And I know that's you, because I know Raymond. You know what I mean? That's why people ask, oh, what's your name? I'm saying, my name's Raymond. I said, obviously we all have a nickname or whatever, rap name. But my name's Raymond. I'm just Raymond or whatever. And that's why, I go live every day. That's another reason why I go live every day, because I want to take down that veil of just social media, because it's so weird. Like, I'm just like, yo, like, all these people, when we were kids, like, you couldn't just say that. You couldn't just say that. You couldn't just say whatever you wanted to say.
Yeah.
You got punched in the face. I know I got punched before. Like, if you've been punched in the face, you know what I'm talking about. It does not feel good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just can't say whatever. So, I mean, it was when I was smaller, then I joined the Marines and things switched up a little bit. But yeah, it's just social media has gotten people to think that they're Superman when they're not, Superwoman when they're not, and they say wild stuff. That's why I treat everybody like with respect. I don't care who you are. I've had people like to say, oh, you have all these followers. Like, I didn't expect you to talk to me like this. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care who you are. If you have 1 follower or 1 million followers, if you solid, you solid. Like, that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. I don't care who you are. Like, because I know plenty of people who had this or that, or I've had I have had lots of opportunities to do certain things that would have took me to another level, but for me, it wouldn't have felt good for me dealing with that individual or dealing with this company or whatever, just to get, at another level, because I'd rather be the champion for the people instead of just like, social media and it's all a facade and stuff like that. Because somebody did ask me, they said, hey, do you have a personal Instagram? And I said, personal? What are you talking about? They said, like a personal for your personal page. I said, this is me. I said, like, they're like, so you're always like, I said, yeah, I spent most of my adult life in the Marine Corps on me. Like, I told you a little bit more, me and Jessie skateboard, we both skateboard, listen to rock music. But other than that, it's the same thing. Like, I like when people like the authentic me, and I'm just like, wow, you like me then, not just a social media facade and stuff like that, or they have to watch what they do or say. I was talking about it the other day. I don't know if it was on one of these lives. don't know if you saw it, Jesse, but I was talking about like I caught myself about to make a post, and I felt myself hesitate, and I said, "Whoa," because I said, "Whoa, what did I just do?" I said, "Are you serious? I want to post a picture or I want to post a silly reel of myself, but I hesitated like because I was going to think about what somebody else is going to think about me. Yes. Why would I do that?"
Yes.
No, think about if you guys are listening, don't do stuff for other people. If you think it's fun or funny or whatever, that's why I love, like, sometimes I'll go check your TikTok and stuff, and I've left some little comments or laugh emojis or whatever, and I love the fact that you'll joke around or whatever, or I think you did a Shark Tank one recently.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. You're like,
I got this. That's what I said. I got this. But no, man.
But yeah, be yourself.
That's how social media is. Like, for instance, like how you were talking about, like, you're so quick to get judged off social. Like, for example, like, this is how the internet works, bro. Like, I had a song, I think like last year or year before, it was called Pop Off, okay? And the video, we were supposed to, this like towards COVID stuff, we were supposed to shoot it like a Nike outlet, and we were going to do all this. They kind of pushed us back coming in on location. So like, because I said something about being the GOAT or something in the song, like I said that. So my buddy was like, "Hey, my such and such has a bunch of goats and stuff on this. Like, let's just go film and see what happens." So I was like, okay, like, screw it. So we go and do it. Long story short, the song comes out, and I get on this YouTube review thing where like these guys are like watching this music video and stuff, like reviewing your video. And dude, I got torn apart. Like, they literally like thought like that was me. They were like, "Look at this." I got called like a white supremacist rapper or some shit because I was some white guy that shot on a farm. And I was like, and then there was people in the comments like fighting for me saying, "Yo, like, if you go and look back at this guy's stuff, nothing is like country Southern. It's like they just did this video, the idea for the video." And like, it's so weird because you're literally not there to defend yourself in the situation, and people are like sitting there just making remarks and talking about you like, "Yeah, he probably," it's like, dude, that is so not right. That's not true. That's not, that you don't even know what you're talking about. So it's like, social media can be, it can be, let's just say that.
It's so ridiculous because they'll judge them off of that. And then I was just talking about it today. Who was it? I was on having a conversation. But why is it that you can't say you're the best? Why do so many people get offended by somebody else saying they're the best? Like, why would I tell you to buy something of mine that I made if not my personal best at that time? Why would I tell you to do that? And why are you so offended? And my only answer that I've gotten from that is those other individuals who are offended by somebody else saying it's the best, that means that they're insecure on the things that they wanted to do or are doing or whatever. And you're so insecure that Jesse saying he's the GOAT bothers you. It doesn't bother me at all. I want to work with people who say they the GOAT. Like, if you like, my thing is I don't like working with people who don't think they're the GOAT. Like,
I've told yourself.
I told somebody, like, I was in a conversation with somebody going back and forth. I won't say who it is. I was going back and forth. They know who it is. I was going back and forth with this dude, and he was like, "Oh, why are you?" Because I was saying, I just said I'm the greatest of all time, right? And some people were saying it's not greatest of all time, but greatest military lyricist. And then some people were like, "Oh, it's too early." It's too early. What I can't believe in myself. I can't say I'm going to give you good quality. Oh, it's too early or whatever. This and that. You can't do that. And I said, I asked this dude, I said, "You don't think you're the best?" He's like, "No." And I said, "Stop rapping today." Like, that's what I thought. I said, "Stop. If you don't think you're the best, stop rapping today." Like you should, like when Jesse sent me that thing, you should feel like in a collaboration, this is to your artist, in a collaboration, if you're working with somebody, you should have some type of anxiety or like have a little fear, like, "Oh man, I'm probably gonna get washed by this dude," like, because it should be like, you guys are gonna like go hard. And then the thing is that brings out the best in you guys. You guys make the best record, then the fans get the best record. You see what I'm saying? That's why when you hear a lot of you guys' favorites and stuff like that, you're like, "Wow, this is a good record." It's because both sides of the people on the record, they push each other. I just listened to an interview with Pusha T and Pharrell, and Pusha T said Pharrell is like the hardest person to work with in terms of he expects greatness out of every line. Like if you listen to Pusha T is a Virginia rapper, but he had the #1 Billboard record as well. If you listen to his new record, it's quotables. Everything's a quotable. Every line is a quotable. Every line is a quotable. And I'm like, wow. And the way Pharrell describes that is, and it could apply to lyricism, it could apply to art, it could apply to anything that you're doing. Everything that you do needs to be sticky, meaning like there has to be a line that's like, whoa, like, oh snap, like, wow, I can't forget that line. That line is so deep or whatever, or it makes me feel a type of way, or it makes me uneasy or happy or something. Because a lot of people don't realize, especially a lot of artists, when you make music, you're supposed to make people feel something. You know what I mean? And if you're just rapping just to rap, and you're not working with the track or working with the other artist, it's not going to come off as a mood, because that's what you're trying to create. You're trying to create a mood. You're not trying to create just like, oh, who's better than who and stuff like that. If you can't create a mood in music, you need to just like take a second, reevaluate yourself, do things to get your self-esteem up, go back to square one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're all human at the end of the day. We all have our own gifts and talents and stuff like that. And it's so crazy. One more thing. Who was it? No, it was Pitbull. So Pitbull, I saw an interview with Pitbull. Pitbull goes, I don't know if you ever seen this interview with Pitbull. He's talking. He's like, hey, why is it like when we're babies? And the interview's like, yeah. Like when we're babies, we start to walk. And he's like, yeah. And then we fall. And then everybody goes, come on, get up. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, let's go. You got it. And then the baby gets up. Everybody's like, yeah, you did it. And they make it to the side of the couch and everybody's smiling. Oh, man, what a cute baby. Wow, you set out to do something. You wanted to stand up and walk across the room, and you did it. Good for little baby Johnny. When we're adults, they're like, nah, you can't do that.
There's so much.
Why is that?
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man.
You know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
Yeah, like I honestly, with like what you said, touching on what you said, that's why I feel like it's really important to like not hold back as an artist, because like if you're writing, it's kind of like you said, oh, I don't know how I feel about posting this. It's like if you start writing and you're like, oh, I don't know how people are gonna react to this. Good, put that shit out. Good, because like I feel like some of the best reactions I've had is lines where I'm probably gonna piss somebody off if I say this. and I've even got a homeboy. I seen his name pop up in the comments. He used to tell me stuff like all the time. He's like, man, like, yeah, I like this, like, but just say what you want to say, man. Like, say what you want to say, dog. Like, say it. Like, who cares if they don't like it? And, you know, it's just like, if the way I put it, if my mom don't care and she supports what you know, my music, it's like, then I can do no wrong. You know what I mean? If mom's okay with me saying it, I don't care what anybody has to say about it.
And I think people forget that you guys are human, even as artists. Like, they expect so much out of you guys. And the other thing is, like, especially when it comes to even you going against everything that mainstream pushes, it's like you take on so much more energetically, but then even you're fighting against the industry. You're literally pushing your own selves, investing in yourselves, and funding every single project you do. You don't have these big checkbooks behind you. So I think that's what makes it even more special of what you guys are doing. And I love the fact that you two even get to sit right here and laugh. Like, most people will not even allow artists to do that. The world can't even take a joke anymore these days. It's so serious. And so I love seeing you two just be, even on here, taking a time out from music, because you both are always working and you guys value your time. So I appreciate both of you jumping on to have even these conversations, because you don't take a lot of time to yourself. You're always creating for the people and for us, and literally funding everything you give us and all that content for free. You don't have to do it, but it's because you're doing it because, one, is what you love, but you're doing it for the people, and you're being a voice for the voiceless. And so many people don't step back and realize, like, even taking life for granted, like, for me, I'm always like, give people their flowers while they're alive. Don't wait till they're dead to be like, oh, I'm going to praise you now and cry over you. Like, no, respect that person, show them love, and push even you guys as independent artists while they're alive. Like, show and spread that message, help get them bigger. So I just want to say thank you guys for everything that you do. And going off of that is like, how do you guys, knowing that there's so much trash music in the world and there's no substance, so knowing that you guys create music with so many layers and with substance in it, how do you guys, let's see, how do I want to wear this? How do you stay motivated to create and inspire, knowing that you're creating a music ahead of your time?
You know, it's funny you say that, because I had a kid one time stump me in here, and I've been engineering came along with me just because I started doing I've been recording myself since the first song that ever came out, like ever, like ever. So like it kind of, I was like, I can make something out of this. Like I like this. I like being in the studio. No matter what, I'm in the studio, whether I'm doing mine or I'm helping somebody else, whatever.
Yeah.
I had a kid in here one day, and I ain't seen him in a long time, and he came in here, and we were sitting down, and I was like, man, how you been? I ain't seen you in a while. And he said, man, I just kind of lost, inspiration for a while. And he's like, music is just, I'm just at like that blah, like and I was like, yeah, I feel you. And he said, let me ask you something. And I was like, what's up? He said, how do you take being an extremely lyrical, like a writer, rapper, passionate artist, how do you take sitting in studio recording a bunch of substanceless music all day, all the time? And I just looked at him and I was like, I've never really thought about that. And he was like, how do you not like just want to go? And I'm just like, dude, at some days just like, okay, but I was like, dude, that's a good question. And honestly, man, I feel like the best way that for me, this is my way to find inspiration. Like if I kind of go in phases, like I'll splurge music for like 6 months, 7 or whatever. And we'll just be going ham. And then like, I have to go experience life. If I'm in a studio all the time, like that's like when you first start making music, it's like, oh, I just want to be in the studio all the time. And it's like, that's cool. But if you never leave the studio as a musician, you're never going to find any experiences in life outside of these walls. There's only so much you can experience inside of the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in order to go out in life and get experiences, that's usually how I write, because I have to have some type of experience in my life in order to put it on pad. I can only rap about sitting in the studio so many times in so many ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's the big thing for me, is like you have to get life experiences in order to stay inspired, at least for me. Like it took me a long time to figure that out. Like I get so mad, be like, dude, I'm in the studio all the time. Like why am I having writer's block this week and stuff? And it's like, because you need to take a break and find balance and go experience life and go somewhere, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that helps a lot.
I agree. TMR, what about you?
Yeah, he talking about writer's block. I got a brain block, man. No, you're saying how do I do? I was caught up on that whole thing. Like, if I was Jessie, how would I record these dudes? Just like,
yeah, knowing you're creating ahead of your time. Like, when knowing that you're creating ahead of your time, where do you turn to, like, for inspiration and keep you motivated?
A lot of times, like, I'll find a new sparring partner. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, yo, I'm rapping with a whole bunch of military dudes. Let me see what's up with Jessie. You know what I mean? And it was dope. You know what I mean? So like, it challenged me to do that and to do something different. That's one. Also realizing that, don't take myself too seriously. Like, cause some people think they're like, I'm a goat, I'm a god, I'm a whatever. Like, yo, chill, fam. Like, you're a human being. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I have, you have to take a break, have to laugh at yourself, make a reel or two. Sometimes I'll be like, yo, I am working too hard. I need to do nothing. Like nothing. Like, hey, I'm exhausted. I think there are some times where we were talking back and forth, like, say, man, I just needed to catch up on life or whatever it was. Like, sometimes you just have to do that. Unplug for a second, charge your batteries, refill your cup, and then be like, all right, and come back fresh, get some sleep, get some rest, and be like, okay, I'm good. All right, I'm hungry again, because we need our batteries recharged. We need our cups filled too, as creators too. And like just how you were saying, like a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, it was crazy because I took everything. I wanted to clear off my page, so I cleared off my whole page, and then people came by like, oh dang, you only have a couple posts on here. I was like, oh, but why do you care? They're like, oh, because I liked going back to your old post. And I'm like, really? I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I haven't seen no comments on my, like, or nothing like that. So you guys are telling me, like, you guys don't like to buy my records, but you guys like to listen to my music for free. Got it. Like I'm just, like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, yo, I need some time for me. I need to do what's best for me, and don't be afraid to be yourself. But one of the main things is, I started changing my perspective, thinking like the Egyptians, right? So I'm like, yo, when I'm making, it's like hieroglyphics, and some people won't understand it, but that's okay. But if I'm cool with it, and I'm cool with the product that I put out, and like how you were talking about my fam and stuff like that, and I'm honoring the people who I want to honor and stuff, it's all good. Like I've said this numerous times. Bridge, I think you might have heard it or whatever, but I say, like, if you make lyrics, right? If you make lyrics to it on a song, and you can't print it out on a piece of white paper, take your name off, slap it on the wall, and somebody passes that and reads it and doesn't say wow or anything, like, it's trash. Like, I can't like I'm trying, like, when I put stuff together, I'm trying to compete with like Shakespeare and stuff. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, and I don't feel like a lot of artists do that. Obviously Jesse does. He makes you feel some type of way. You know what I mean? but what I'm trying to say is, like, they're lacking, and so it's just like, okay, I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to worry about me, and I have a duty. And even though it's a thankless job, it's going to help somebody. So basically, changing your perspective, even though you're not thankful for a job that you did, is going to help you stay focused. And while we're on the topic, like, I try to, every time, as much as I can remember, is try to practice the art of thank you or F you. So let me explain. Regardless how somebody treats you, whether they say thank you or F you, you're still having the same reaction. Like, just like a train going on a train track. Yo, I'm going to my destination. I already know what I'm about to do. I'm going to my destination. You could hop on the train. You can at the stop, but I'm still going on this train. If you don't like it, it's cool. If you do like it, that's cool too. But I'm still going to this destination. Like, until I die, nobody's going to stop me heading to this destination. So when I change my mindset like that, it changed my whole world. I stopped worrying about a whole bunch of people, like, oh, who's the greatest, all that. I stopped worrying about that in the terms of other people. I look in the mirror and I say, are you the greatest? Are you happy to share this? Are you happy are you happy with the product that you did? Not, oh man, such and such is, oh man, I'm jealous. Da, 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 da. No. Like,
just gotta be you, man. Just gotta be you.
That's what I'm saying. What you guys saying?
I said, you just got to be you. I was just touching on what you said, saying you just got to be you, man. I agree with what you're saying 100%, bro, because so many people get caught up, I want to be like them. It's like, bro, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Just do you and do what you got a passion for. Just like you said, the train thing, like, if you don't like the train, it's not going to stop. It's still going to keep going. Like, I don't like this train. Well, do you think it's going to stop just because you don't like it? Like, that's not how shit works, man. So it's so funny, bro. Like, because and a lot of times too, I call it, I was actually doing some writing today, man. Like, small town mindset gets people so caught up. So, like, because half the time people that are listening to you and really supporting you are people that don't even know you. So, and like, they don't even know you. So it's like, just be yourself, man. Like, just be you. Like, just be you. Like, there's no reason to go out here and try to be the next, like, I can't be the next Lil Wayne. I can try. I can really try, but I can't be him.
Just need more people to support.
And that's so crazy. And that's so crazy too, because, like, I only noticed support from my hometown. You already know, when they, oh, dang, hey, little Ray, hey, you doing things now. Like, this is a crazy thing. This was the craziest thing that I never thought would happen. So in high school, I was 4'11", right?
Yeah.
So I grew like a foot, right? But I was 4'11", 90 pounds, getting bullied, all that. Put in lockers, all that. Like I was straight up Urkel, like, for real. Like, not cool. Until like later later on, and then I won't talk about that because that's another thing. But anyway, but I was getting bullied or whatever. But when later on in my high school years, I started hanging out with some of the cooler kids or whatever, but not like the second tier cool kids, not the coolest kids. The coolest kids were cheerleaders and jocks, football players, basketball players. I wasn't in that group. I was across the way looking at them and looking at the cheerleaders all up on the football players, like, oh my gosh, you're so cute, da da da. And I'm like, this is crazy, man. I can't believe I'm watching this. My life was like Everybody Hates Chris, right? So I'm watching this.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They used to call me what's it called, Chris Rock and stuff like that.
That group used to call me for weed, bro.
Hey, at least they called you. I was sitting there by the phone waiting for somebody to call. But yeah, so like I was looking across the way, and there's a football player, light skinned black dude. All the girls liked him. Quarterback, very popular. Everybody knew about him. Yeah. I heard girls passing by in the halls like, "Oh my gosh, the quarterback is so cute!" Da, da, da. Right, and I'm hearing this, right, and I'd have girls come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute," and I'm like, "Yeah, really?" And they're like, "No, as a little brother." I'm not kidding. I've had that said to me before, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. So like when Chris Rock came out with Everybody Hates Chris, I'm like, that was my life, bro. Anyways, so I'm watching the quarterback and stuff like that. So he's just so popular. Then I think after I ended up getting a little bit more successful, I go back to my hometown, and then I get on a train. Speaking of trains, I'm getting on a train that goes from downtown San Diego up a little bit up north, kind of like to LA. And so I get on the San Diego train, and I run into this quarterback. He's across the way with his family, his wife and his kids, and I'm just sitting there by myself. But I'm wearing my flag jacket, so he and I guess he knew who I was or whatever at that point or whatever. But I don't look the same at all. Like if you saw me, I look different. But anyway, so he comes up to me. Well, no, first he says to his wife, so hey, I'm about to go talk to that dude or whatever. I went to high school with him, man. He's like famous now or something. And I'm just like, what? And so like he leaves his whole family to come over. Hey, bro, hey, it's good to see you again, man. I haven't seen you in high school, since high school, this and that. Hey man, can I get a picture? And I'm like, I could not believe it. I'm just like, what? I was like, dude, you could have took 1,000,001 pictures with me back then. If I want to take a picture with you, you'd be like, get out of here, small fry or whatever. But now, now it's different now. And it's so crazy how like you have to leave your town and then blow up and then go back and then they love you. It's like, why can't they love you when you there?
Dude, to this day has been since I've ever started making music. I get more streams and more views outside of the city I live in ever. I always have. It just shows you like when you're an artist, do not worry about the shit around you, because usually the people that like, not your real homeboys, but like the homeboys that you're like, yeah, I know him. Those are the people like, yeah, he raps. Yeah, he sucks as soon as you turn around. So it's like, don't worry about the people around you, because 9 times out of 10, the people around you probably the ones that's hating on you most when you leave the room, if you're not like super, super close with them. So like, and I've learned that over the years. It's kind of like you said, like I've literally had people reach out to me that I have not talked to since like middle school and be like, bro, like we should hang out, see you doing good stuff. And it's like, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate it, but like, bro, like I haven't seen you in 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So I totally know what you mean. It's like a weird stigma. Really weird.
Facts. If you guys could tell your younger self something now, with all your life experiences and the journey that you've been on, what would you tell yourself?
Oh God. I know my friends are loving this question right now. Whoever's watching. Damn. You got to go first on this one because I'll
go first. I would say,
my bad.
It's crazy because this is what I do like a lot. like when I'm doing certain things, like some of the best like works that I've done is me, and I won't really necessarily say it on the track. Oh, actually, I think I did. But anyway, but I'll call my younger self Raymond, my real name. I'll call myself younger self I'll call my younger self Raymond, because that's me without all whatever before like the Marine Corps and before like music or any accolade or whatever. And I'll be like, man, like what did Raymond do? Raymond didn't care what anybody thought. He had fun. He laughed. He was silly because I got bullied and made fun of. I just did whatever I wanted to do. Like I've always had colored hair. Because I liked Rodman for some reason. I've always had color. I literally would do that. So I liked Rodman, so I would always do that. So I just did whatever. I wore crazy colors, neon colors and stuff like that. And I noticed that individual, Raymond, my younger self, didn't care what other people thought. He had fun. He was creative. He said what he wanted to say. He wasn't focused on the outside opinion of the public. And eventually that individual ended up swaying other people around him. I noticed like in high school, people started to like kind of like conform to me instead of me conforming to them. Like, oh, you're so cool or quirky or weird or whatever like that. I like that. And to the point where a lot more people liked me than I thought they did. Like I had girls after high school, like I say like 5 years later when I worked at like fast food afterwards or whatever. No, it wasn't even 5 years later. It was like 2 years. Cause yeah, it was in high school. I was like 16, but then it was like 18 when I was working at Taco Bell or whatever. And she was like, oh, you think you're so much better than everybody else? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I liked you in high school, but you didn't pay attention. I was like, I didn't think anybody liked me in high school. I was in my own little world doing my own thing. I was like, thank you. Why didn't you tell me back then? You should have did something. You know what I mean? Let me know something. But she was mad at me because I didn't notice that she had liked me or whatever. But the thing is people can notice energy and they're attracted to energy.
Yeah.
So my message to my younger self is be yourself and have that positive energy, because all that stuff, that magnetism will come if you're yourself. That's why when you see somebody, have you seen somebody that's not conventionally pretty or handsome, out and about? You know what I'm talking about. Like they wouldn't really say they look like, Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt, but you're like, what is it about them? But that girl looks good. I don't know what it is, or that guy looks good. What is that? And then I started figuring it out. I was like, yo, they don't care about nobody. They having a good day. Their spirits is up, their energy's up and all that. And they're walking around. And they're attractive in that positive energy, because some people could be like, you could see a conventionally pretty person and you're like, for some reason she ugly. You know what I mean? Like, no, what you said? Like, there's something off. You know what I mean? So it's doing what's best for you, so you have that positive energy, and all the other stuff will come because that positive energy is that magnet. But you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I agree. I agree 100%, man. Like I was trying to trying to find some inspiration from you there to say, what the hell would I tell my younger self, really? I'd probably tell my younger self, and I did not know that you got the hair inspiration from Dennis, man. That's super dope. I actually got to meet him and chill with him a couple years ago in California. Super random. I was out there with a marketing guy and I ended up sitting at lunch with him, and we ended up hanging out for the rest of the day. We literally took Dennis Rodman to the big like outdoor mall somewhere in LA and like dropped him off. He had to pick up something for somebody, and like we literally had his huge tall self riding around in this little Nissan Frontier in the front seat.
And he was cool with it?
We're literally just like, how did this happen? Like, we're literally riding around in LA right now in this little beat up truck with Dennis Rodman taking him to the mall. Like,
and he was
just
chill. And he was
random,
chill.
bro.
He was chill, dude.
So random. But I'd probably tell myself, dude, I loved to party when I was younger. Like when I got a teenager and stuff, like I was all about going and drinking and like, doing what I could to get messed up. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like if I mean, there's nothing wrong with it to a certain extent, you know, as long as you're careful. But I would say I wish I would have been a little bit more focused with kind of like with the information I know now in the industry. I feel like maybe I would have got to where I am now like
earlier,
5 years earlier, you know, something, maybe 6 years earlier. But I mean, all in all, that would probably be like my biggest, like, yo, like, just straighten up and get your shit together. It'll pay off later. That's probably what I would tell myself.
But then you wouldn't have all those experiences you do now to create the music to where you are today.
Yeah, seesaw. You're right. I probably, but then again, I probably remember some of those experiences too.
Hey, you made it out. You're good.
Yes, but yeah, definitely a slap on the back of my younger head, like, get it in gear, dog.
You got that discipline now, though. That's
Facts. You gotta be.
I want to be respectful of both of your guys' time. So if we can, just anyone who is dealing with struggling with mental health, anything with adversity in their life, especially in the times we're in where suicide is at an all-time high, what would be some words of inspiration, or even like your guys' special projects that were maybe your favorite and really hit home, where somebody could turn to when they're at their darkest moment?
Straight up, do what's best for you. Like, do what is best for you, because you have to fix yourself before you can fix anybody else around you. If not, you're dragging everybody down with you. And I've always been like that. Like, it might sound selfish, you know, like, I can't give you the shirt off my back if I'm still trying to make mine. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I have to make sure I'm good before I can give you mine. So I always tell people, do what's best for you. If you know that moving here or taking this job or doing whatever it is going to make you at peace and it's going to make you feel better, then do it. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Do it. For instance, I was off of I've been on anxiety medication for beginning of high school, and I stopped cold turkey for like over 10 years. And my anxiety got really, really bad. So I've actually been back on anxiety medicine now for a little over 6 months. I've been back on because it started getting like, the more busy you are, the more you get worked up and stuff. So I had to go, and I fought it for a long time. I was like, man, I'm not getting back on this. I'm not getting back on this. Everybody's telling me to do it. And I finally was like, you know what? If this is what's going to be best for me, I'm just going to go do it. And I've done it. And I started doing anxiety medication again. And I even take a little bit of sleeping medicine sometimes, because that's another big thing too, that my doctor told me. It's like, if you do not figure out your sleep pattern, you will never control your anxiety and stuff. And like, that's a big one for me, is trying to figure out your sleep pattern. Because when you're in this industry, if you get an idea at 2 in the morning, you want to get up and pull your laptop out and start just going ham and stuff. Like, so balance will help you, and just do what's best for you.
I would just, I kind of touched on it earlier. I would, as far as like what to do, just keep things in perspective. Like, a lot of times, like, I've been there, and I talk about it in music and stuff like that, and I had ideations and stuff like that, because it's hard. But then you start to realize that it's not only you, it's your family. There's people who made a lot of sacrifices for you. For me, I think about like my mom. I'm one of 5 kids. And my mom had to make a whole bunch of sacrifices just to make us successful. And it's kind of like, if I'm feeling like suicidal or something, I'm throwing all that away for what? You know what I mean? It's just like, she went through A, B, and C. Like, she grew up in Newark, New Jersey. And when she grew up in Newark, New Jersey, it was a murder capital. Like, that before DC. You know what I'm saying? I mean, before Baltimore. So before The Wire and all that. So it's kind of like, she grew up all in that atmosphere and stuff. And I'm just going to squander all that. So it's kind of like just putting things in perspective and realizing your worth, and don't let somebody put value or worth to something. I think about it all the time. It's like, why do you have to wait till somebody passes away to give them like respect, kudos, whatever like that? Why do you have to wait to do that? Why don't you tell them now? Why don't you tell them how you feel about them now, opposed to later? And that's why it gets me so mad. It sucks because a lot of times when I see it happens so many times, like a lot of these rappers end up getting killed and stuff. They're like, oh, RIP, RIP. And I'm just like, yo, you was just saying he wasn't nothing. You just dissed him. You just did this, da da da. And now it's like RIP. Why? Because you think it's cool for in hip hop culture to say RIP or whatever for a photo or for an Instagram post and stuff like that. It's silly. Why don't you respect them now? Or if you don't mean it, don't say anything. I've actually seen some people say, you know, I'm not gonna say anything because that would be cap. And I was like, I actually respect that more. They're like, yo, you guys know I didn't like such and such, so why would I ever cap on that? Like, or I didn't know them. So why would I ever cap and act like I know them when I don't? So I just feel like if we're able to focus on important things and family and things that are important to us and worry about home team and stuff like that. And if you have some extra bread that you can break off, you know, the other people, do so, but take care of yourself. That self-care thing, it might sound cheesy to people or whatever, or, you know, asking for help might sound cheesy. But the people who you leave behind is going to have to deal with all that nonsense if you decide to take your life or hurt yourself or something like that. So, and there's always people to help you. I know I do at least a 22-minute live every single day. Not only for other people, but for myself to remind me, like I'm the suicide prevention guy, you know what I mean? So like to remind me like, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, or you want to just listen to a conversation every day at 8 p.m. EST, you can talk to me. You know what I mean? Or anybody else that come through. So if you guys get in hard times, you can always reach out. You know, I'm human too. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I might log off, but there's a big community. If you join any of our communities and stuff like that, you'll notice there's a lot of people who are willing to talk to you, lend an ear. If you want to talk to a female, I'm sure Bridget will talk to you and stuff like that. So it's really important to take care of yourself and be good, because a lot of times what happens is these individuals get exhausted and they feel unnoticed and they feel like they're not affecting anything. So they're like, it's better off that I leave anyway. Nobody's noticing me. So just take care of yourself, and the resources are out there, and just find out what works best for you. Like, before you wrap up, I'll tell you this. Like, when I first got out of the Marine Corps, I went to this like home, and I had to do this like therapy.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to meditate, and it wasn't working for me. It was not working for me. They were like, meditate and be in your thoughts. And I was like, I don't want to be in my thoughts because I remember a whole bunch of things that happened overseas. I don't want to be in my thoughts. That's the worst thing that I want to do. What I want to do is I kind of want to like zone out, you know what I mean? Or whatever. And they're just like, just try the meditation, just be quiet. And I'm just like, I was like, I understand you got doctors and stuff like that and therapists and stuff. You're trying to do well and stuff like that, but you don't understand. I just had a different experience than you. You know, nobody's better than anybody else. I just had a different experience than you. And it's a different world up in there. So I realized the best thing for me wasn't any of that. It was music and music. Like, that's why if I'm not talking or helping somebody else, I'm always listening to music and stuff like that, because it like soothes me. It's like therapy. So meditation, music, all those M's, any of those three could help you as well. So just reach out, please.
And get some sunlight. That's a huge one for me, bro. Like, that's a huge one. I have to be outside sometimes to get sun. Like, I cannot be in dark rooms for a long time. I start getting in my brain. So
Same here. I need that nature. Luckily for me, I live in the Valley of the Sun in Arizona, so I'm good on that sun.
Oh yeah.
But if we can just have both of you share your socials, any upcoming projects. Buy Self-Doubt now on iTunes and all streaming platforms. But as they drop their social, make sure to click the little thing at the top, drop down menu, and follow both of them. But any upcoming projects and social media handles. Yeah.
Just check me out. Official Jessie G. All my platforms are all cohesive, all the same username. And I just announced it today. I have another single dropping on next week, the 20th. Yes, next Friday. I do have another soon. But like she said, go download, stream, watch Self Doubt until your finger falls off. So.
Yo, what's up? Again, my name's TMR, aka the Marine Rapper or Raymond. You can check me out everywhere at the Marine Rapper. Again, everywhere at the Marine Rapper. And I haven't really said it. This is kind of like the first official announcement, but I'm dropping an album on Memorial Day. So.
You don't ever drop secrets, so that's
I never tell anybody anything, and I'm gonna tell you this is my best one. Period. Like,
yes.
Like people are gonna be it's gonna help a lot of people. So
I love
that's
it.
awesome.
Well, thank you both again for taking time out to jump on this live, and everyone listening. Just remember, as we go into wrap up, like, I'm just gonna leave on a final words of hope is the light within. The goodness in you brings out the goodness in everyone around you, and that's how we brighten the world and continue to make a change. So everyone has a story. Everyone's battling something. We're all on a different journey. We all have different experiences. So together, we have to rise up for children and humanity. It starts with one person. It starts with you. So thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to check on one another, even if it's just like, hey, did you eat today? Like, are you good? Did you get sleep? Like, especially check on even like the independent artists. They take on so much, and share, like the music. It does not cost anything if you don't have the money to purchase the albums. A share costs nothing. So if you can help spread the message, it will cause a ripple effect. One person will tell another person. So make sure to continue to like, share, post, repost, go like it again. I don't know if you have multiple accounts. I know all the people getting taken down with multiple accounts. Use all of them. Help everyone get the message out and spread their music, because again, they don't have a big checkbook behind them. They're funding their own projects. If you can go to their merch sites, buy the merch. If you have people you can connect them with, whether it's other people who make beats, who all want to put in the work, use your resources and connect one another. That's what we're here to do, is share the experience and make it better for everyone in the world. And make sure to put down your smart devices and listen to not only your children, your family, your friends, but the world's hurting, and be present. So
then take a breath. Yeah, you got to tell people to breathe and take a breath. I actually have that tattooed on my wrist for when I'm stressing out. It says, just breathe. So I literally look down at my wrist and be like, just chill out. You're good. So, like, do what you got to do to make sure you're good upstairs, man.
Great. Love that one. And just also remember, like, you're not alone. Be bold, be you, and just stay true to who you are, and check in on one another. Just know that you're enough, and love you all. Thank you again, both of you, for joining, and much love and respect. Anything that I can do to help both of you share your projects, anything else coming out, I'm here for you.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on here today. I've had nothing but great responses about the song and stuff, so I'm glad I got to get on here and chop it up and just talk about the song and just life and everything in general.
I love it. Anything else, Timar, before I say click, peace?
Listen to Self Doubt. That's it.
Yes.
Awesome. iTunes now, and also check out DK's latest project, Ghost. Peace.
Awesome. See y'all later.
Bye. Tune in to Alive every day.